The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, my name is Leo Connors, and welcome to The Ring and All Other Sports. Today, I got three special guests. I got three wrestling trainees. I got W.Duncan, Jonathan Saucier, and Jay Daravong. Say it right?
Yes, that is correct.
Nice. Guys, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate this.
Thanks for having us, Leo.
We'll talk about everything, man. I just want to I'd like to do a little get-to-know-you interview. Where'd you grow up? Well, we'll start with you first.
Sure. Born and raised Nashua, New Hampshire. Currently based out of Merrimack with my wife. And yeah.
All right.
Born in Manchester, Connecticut. Raised in Franklin, New Hampshire. Been there pretty much my whole life. Dabbled around in New Hampshire. Moved to Bosquen for a little bit, but predominantly Franklin boy.
Nice.
And I was born in Nashua, just been moving north along the way, so Nashua, Merrimack, and now in Manchester. Maybe
right.
Concord next year. You know.
Right?
Wind up in
How
Franklin
long till
with
the
me.
Canadian border, right?
Exactly.
All right. So, when did you first see wrestle? We'll start with you on this one, John.
The first time I saw wrestling was probably late 2007, early 2008. Pretty much a little bit before WrestleMania 23 was when I really first saw wrestling.
Okay.
I didn't actually see wrestling until probably, for me, 2004, 2005. I was more into the video games beforehand, before I got into the live shows.
Nice.
I'm the youngest of four, the two older brothers and an older sister, so I've been watching wrestling probably since the early 90s. The WWE, obviously Raw and SmackDown, and WCW, lived through the Monday Night Wars, so I kind of became a lapsed fan for a little bit, and then I'd say probably 8 or so years ago, started watching it again, got hooked.
Nice. All right. And who'd you like when you first started watching wrestling? Was anybody you liked right off the bat?
Absolutely. When I started wrestling, my very first match that I ended up seeing was Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels in the main event on Raw. Immediately, how do you not fall in love with that?
Right.
And those guys.
Yeah.
So Shawn Michaels had me hooked. Easy.
And Will?
Growing up, loved D-Generation X, loved Hollywood Hogan, loved Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's just bigger than life kind of guys. Obviously, The Rock. So just all those kind of larger than life guys from back in the day.
All right. Well, seeing that I know you were on Dan's show, Dan Boley, a good friend of ours, right? You said you liked Hollywood Hogan. What about Hulk Hogan? There's a point to this in a second.
Yeah, I was going to say, I grew up to, when I first was able to, stay up and watch wrestling and things like that, the Monday nights, the Nitros, that kind of stuff. And for me, it was always, by the point, I was always a WWE guy. And then once Hogan turned, that was like, oh, okay. It was always the, say your prayers and eat your vitamins and stuff. And I don't know, it was just seeing the biggest hero on the block turn into a bad guy. It was just, it was something else. And it absolutely fueled a war between the two companies, and just did great things for wrestling for years to come.
Why I brought it up is, I don't know if you happened to see the episode I had Dan on a couple of weeks ago.
I haven't watched it.
And we were talking about it. He was telling me that Hulk Hogan is the greatest wrestler of all time. And I said, no, I think he's the greatest sports entertainer of all time. I told Dan, I don't think he's the greatest in-ring worker. I think there's hundreds of wrestlers that you could say are better wrestlers. But don't get me wrong, Hogan is at the top for what he did for the business. That's all. Did you like Hogan? Might as well we're on Hogan real quick. Did you like Hogan?
Since I started watching 2007, I didn't see a lot of Hogan.
Right.
What I did see from Hogan was a highlight package of Shawn Michaels and Hogan at SummerSlam. So
Oh, and Sean sold
Yeah.
like unbelievable.
so maybe not the best introduction to Hogan you
Right.
could have, but it's so hard to deny him
Right.
as anything but one of the greatest of all. Like he has to be on
Absolutely.
Mount Rushmore. He has to be.
Yep.
He's, for as much limitations as he had, especially a lot of the guys in the '80s, they had. Like Ultimate Warrior also was not a particularly good worker.
Right.
But
Everybody
command
wanted to see him.
attention.
Yeah, and he
They
sold a
commanded
lot of
attention.
merchandise.
made a lot of money, so there's no denying
Right.
the money-making prowess they had. So absolutely great entertainers, limited in ring, but
Right.
God, are they good. But some of Hogan's Japanese stuff, though, he showed that he could work.
Yes, I actually mentioned that to Dan that
So-
day. He can work because he had great matches in Japan.
Rather it was just the style at the time, I think, was very limited for him, but in Japan he could go.
Right.
So I think he's all around really, really phenomenal at what he was doing.
I've got to agree with Jonathan here. And the other thing is, when he was in America, he didn't have to do much to
Right.
get over. I mean,
Exactly.
He starts doing that little Hulk.
Oh,
up,
yeah.
And everyone knew. The fans go crazy. And,
The finger point.
right? I mean, if you don't have to do a million things to get the same reaction,
That's right.
why bother?
Right. Work smart. Work less, if you can. All right. Let's see. Let's go into some like trading. I know you guys are all tradies. I know you've worked a little bit more.
Yep.
So why don't we we'll start back with Will.
Sure.
Where are you trading at?
So I've been training for right around 8 months, and I train at Elite Pro Wrestling Academy in Concord, New Hampshire, under Scott Reed and Mike Hollow, as well as in Manchester, New Hampshire, at Next Gen Wrestling Center, owned by Bud Gardner and Julian Starr. And it's just been great. Just had a blast, getting into the business and just learning the ins and outs of an industry that I've always been really into for years now. So for me, it's just been a great experience all around. Yeah.
Nice.
I'm up. All right.
Yeah, you're up.
We're doing eye contact. I was gonna stare at you the whole time. I work and train predominantly with Next Gen in Manchester under Bud Gardner and Julian Starr as well. I've dropped into a few other places. Went to a Nepwa fantasy camp. That's where I kind of dipped my toes the first time. Realized this is something I could probably do. And then I went to Elite one time. I'm hoping to go back more because both Scott Reed and Mike Hollow are extremely knowledgeable and just great guys to learn from. It's just something I've completely got addicted to. I'm just hooked now.
Nice.
It's like the only thing I want to do is this. So
That's
it's cool
awesome.
that there's so many opportunities around now. So it's great to see Elite opening. It's great to see Next Gen growing. I'm just stoked to see where it's going.
Nice.
Well, I started training about 12 years ago.
Yeah.
Originally, and back then I trained at the Chaotic Training Center.
Okay.
So
Was Mike Hollow there
no,
at that
actually,
time?
we Mike and I have talked about it. He'd probably left just a little before I had gotten there.
So Fury.
It was so Fury. It was actually pre-Fury. It was
okay.
during the days of Handsome Johnny and Brian Malonis.
Nice. Yep.
So I was there. I've been, and then I dropped in to Nepwa when it changed over. Periodically, I'd go for 6 months at a time, whenever my job would allow me. So I was there during the Fury era. I've been able to do a couple of fantasy camps since then, but predominantly now because it's in my city,
Right.
I go to Next Gen with Julian Starr, Bud Browning, and what I'm trying to do is extend my training because as Mike Hollow has passed on, it's all ice cream and you can learn so many
Right.
different things from so many different people. So I'd like to drop in at Bell Time. I'd like to drop in more at Elite and even Nepwa if I can, and just drop in, get one, I was saying, I always joked I'd be at each place once a week,
Right.
so maybe on the first week of the month I'd go to Nepwa, on the second week of the month I'd go
Right.
to Bell Time, on the third Elite, and just dip my toes and get as much training from everywhere that I could and learn from anyone.
It's very smart because, like you said, you hit it right on the head though. Like you can learn from almost anybody. You could learn from Will.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? You can learn, even though you don't have to be a 15-year veteran. you can learn from a guy that's only had 10 matches. You know, you just never know.
And that's one of the things with working with a guy like Jay and knowing him and just getting the wisdom that he's had for years now, even though we're similar age. I've only been doing this for a couple months, whereas he's been doing this for years, and just little anecdotes and things that just make life so much easier when you're trying to learn the ropes, literally and figuratively.
And one of the really cool things is it's one of those things where you start getting better at it and you don't acknowledge how much better you are at getting, because me and Will started relatively the same time at Next Gen. When we first started, doing headlocks improperly, everything's pretty bad. And next thing you know, we're helping other people, this is how you take a head. So just seeing our growth together is pretty cool. I think it's cool to see that. Jay, has been there, been absolutely a huge help for me in my personal growth. Being able to listen to someone calling, being able to call now, so I can lead the newer guys a little bit. Right. So it's been it's really cool just to see how much everyone grows, how fast it is. It's nice.
All right, so listen, why don't we do? I want to ask you a few questions. Each one of you guys could, jump in here or there, whatever. Why don't take me and everybody watching, all 6 of them.
Seven now.
Seven now. You're right. Seven.
My face.
Now. But take us through a trading day, when you first get there. What goes on? I've never traded, so I have no idea.
Well, after a couple bottles. Once you get there,
of water, of water.
Yes,
of water. Yeah,
maybe aspirin.
Yeah. Usually, you walk in, you do what you do with every pro wrestling environment. You go and you make sure you shake hands with everyone. You acknowledge everyone because you never know who's going to be there. And there's going to be people you don't recognize, and you show respect to everyone that's there.
Right.
And that should be a life thing, but it's actually almost silly how much it's become just a pro wrestling thing. So after that, you got to start, you start your day doing some warm-ups. If you plan it right, you always get to class early. You want to be the first one in, the last one out. You want to work when you're there. A lot of these facilities, you pay by month or so get your money's worth. Go in there as early as you can. As long as that door's unlocked, you should be there.
Right.
You get your stretching out, so you're not going to hurt yourself. And a day usually starts with a lot of blow-up drills, a lot of drills to get your blood, warmed up and going, whether it's, 10 and outs or just going in and doing a whole bunch of pin
What's
drills.
10 and outs? So 10 and outs. I have no idea what it is, so.
Go ahead. All right, so a 10 and out, it's basic.
Very.
But boy, does it suck. So you get into the ring, hit the ropes one way.
Yeah.
That's 1, come back, that's 2. Do that 10 times, and you slide out. Do that as fast and as hard as you can.
And properly.
And properly, because people will point out, hey, your feet are planted. I've seen 20 and outs happen. And people don't realize, everything in that ring isn't pleasant to feel. Right. So when you're hitting the ropes, especially the first time after a week off or something, oh no, and then you're hitting them again. Oh, dude, this sucks, and you're getting all these welts and stuff. And
I was gonna ask about that.
So you get marked up, and I don't think people realize that, and that's one of the things I always say, because a lot of people like saying, oh, the fake wrestling thing.
Right.
I don't even say take a bump anymore. I would say I hit the ropes. Yeah. Go out there, hit a rope, and be like, oh, it's fake, because those hurt. And that's just one of the blow up drills. We have my personal favorite, 10-8-6-4.
What's that?
So you start off by doing Irish whips.
Yep.
10 of those. So then after that, you do 6 crisscrosses. 8 crisscrosses, 10-8-6-4.
Yep.
Then you do 6 drop downs, 4 shoulder tackles, pin, get up fighting stance. But instead of making it easy and saying, all right, guys, you did your 10-8-6-4, now you got to flip it. Yeah. And if I was good at multiplication, I would double everything for you. But
it's
my first time on TV.
There's so many drills that people do. You got drills that everyone knows because of seminars from people that have gone to WWE, and you get performance center drills, and you get a famous one that I found in a pro wrestling book, years ago, was the fives drill, which is you start with Irish whips, then you do drop down leapfrogs, then you whip them to the corner and you do up and overs.
Yep.
But everything is just meant to get the blood boiling, to get you moving, tired, and then the rest of the day you're learning, you're doing the rest of your drills, learning some match psychology, but you're breathing heavy throughout the whole thing. But you go, people think about it and they're like, well, now you're tired, you're not going to be as good as if you were fresh.
Right.
Well, that's true, but if you're at the end of a match,
Exactly.
that's when you're going to need that gas tank.
You're right.
So, despite being all blown up, when you get to the end of the learning part of class, it's really now you're learning how to actually do this stuff and finish your drills when you are tired. And it's funny that this is how probably people have been training, at least for the 10 years that I've been in and out of the business. But you get to see it for that's the same way that they do it across the board.
Yeah.
And it's a tried and true method.
Well, it's also a great way to learn to pace yourself. Because I know, like, first time someone had me do a 10-8-6-4, I'm sucking wind. It was awful.
Right.
Well, that's the point.
But now when I do a 10-8-6-4, I obviously still get blown up, still suck wind for a bit, but it's not nearly as bad. I don't leave like, God, I hate that drill. I hate it. It's the worst drill. Now it's just like, all right, guys, get it out of the way. Let's do it so we can start learning.
What's your favorite drill, Will?
I tend to like the pinning drills. You get a line of guys, and you have one person take a bump in the middle of the ring, and you have practice all your kickouts, pin, kick out. Somebody immediately slides in, covers you. Got to kick out.
Right.
Got to do it fast, snappy, make it look like it's aggressive, and you want to, you're there to win that match, so you don't want to be there for too long. And it's a fun one. You get to see a little bit of everybody's personality kind of come out at the same time too. So it's cool. And in addition to those blow up drills, which are absolutely essential, because because I mean you need the cardio, because there's nothing like wrestling cardio. No, absolutely nothing. You could go and do Stairmaster every day, whatever, treadmill. You could go to a CrossFit box and do a hero.
Wrestling, you're using every part of your body.
Absolutely.
So, absolutely,
so,
right.
I mean, like for me, it's been crazy. I've lost 45 pounds since the beginning of the year, just weightlifting and working out and things like that, and wrestling. So it's been a crazy experience for me, and kind of building up that engine or gas tank or whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
All right. What's the one drill you hate?
I don't know what name it has.
Okay.
But Julian Starr was so lovely to introduce it to us. You hold the top rope and you bring your knees up past the middle rope. You do that for like 2 minutes. And you go to the next corner. Same thing. Do it for like 2 minutes, and you do all 4 corners. And by the end of it, I used to wrestle in high school, so my cardio is pretty all right. I don't like that at all. Not only do I get extremely blown up, but the feeling of having your calves on fire is not something I like. Because even when I go to the gym, leg day is like, I don't want to do leg day. And the next time I go with a Julian Starr class, and he's like, here, let's have the worst leg day of your life. So that's the one that if it comes up again, I'm still going to do it. But the whole time I'm going to be talking to Julian. And Julian, I hate this. I think I did the first time we did it. I think I was talking to him the whole time.
When he watches this episode, we're all in trouble.
Yeah. We're doing that same drill over and over. It's 2 minutes, 4 minutes. We're doubling it. Have fun.
What about you? What's your favorite?
My favorite was introduced to me by another student, actually. It's the Rolling Thunder drill.
Okay.
So there's a guy in each corner and then one guy in the middle. And at random, he will pick someone and drop down in front of them. And then that person has to
cross run.
Well, no, he has to. So drop down. He just drops down.
Yep.
The person has to actually forward roll over them.
Okay.
Dive into the middle.
Yep.
And then he'll pick someone at random, and you do that for about 2 minutes. So it gives you a little bit of a break depending on who people are choosing, but at the same time, your reaction time has to be right there. I've done it a few times. I love it. It's a fun drill. And then sometimes you get a little competition between you and someone. Someone picks you, you dive over them. You go, you know what? You're going to roll again. So you dive in front of them. Then you two are going back and forth.
Right.
The 3 other people are like, have at it. Have fun, But
it's their favorite blow-up drill.
Yeah. But you can get a little bit of a rivalry with
Right.
with someone, and then finally someone will blink and all right, I'm out of here. I'm gonna get someone else.
Nice. Now, have you guys done any seminars?
Yeah.
You
believe
guys,
so.
what was one of your favorites?
So I think I've only done one, but back in, was it April? Or
Don't ask me about dates.
a couple months
wrong-
ago.
wrong
But
guys.
we had Dirty Dango, formerly
Oh,
known as
Fandango.
Fandango.
Yeah.
Yep, from the WWE.
Johnny Curtis.
Yep.
Yes.
He worked the APW show.
Yeah.
And spent I think like 2 or 3 hours with us, and it was a great time. Awesome getting the exposure, the one-on-one time. And then we've just been really, I think, blessed in the area that we're from, in the southern New Hampshire area. We've got a ton of opportunities with interacting with local talent. T-Bar from the WWE, Joel from AEW. So we've had a lot of chances to really pick the brain of some guys who wrestle at the highest levels. So
Right.
it's been great.
Now, you said you haven't done any yet?
I haven't been to any like in-person seminars. The one things that I have done is I was in a Zoom call, a class Zoom call with both Tommaso Ciampa and Kofi Kingston.
Nice.
So both local talents. I know it's like a weird thing to say because like I kind of
Right.
just forget that they're from New England, but picking their brains, even just in a Zoom call,
Right.
is so valuable.
Yeah.
Like,
They
learning-
like giving back, too.
Oh
yeah.
They do.
Like they are just giving us that time was incredible, but hearing it even through a screen was immensely important to me. Like, I have notes still taken down to this day about like character work because Kofi brought up the Jamaican accent because I asked him about it. He did it for me. I didn't want him to do it, so thanks Kofi for that.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, just the knowledge you can get from those is so vital. So I want to get some more of those. My job kind of limits
Yeah.
what I can do with this right now.
But you had to have learned a lot from that.
Just
That's
just
awesome.
those two alone, just from a
Right.
Zoom call.
Yeah.
Infinite knowledge. So
I've been to several.
Yeah. I know. You were at the Dirty Dango one,
I was
too.
at the Dirty Dango
Yeah.
one. That was. I've been to one where Dango was supposed to do, but wasn't able to make it, and actually Mike Hollow subbed in,
Yes.
which was kind of weird because
That was at APW, too.
Yep, because for us that was just like we were just going. This is just another class.
Yeah.
You get to see him interact with other people and
Right.
everything like that. So that was fun. I've got to go to a seminar with Matt Taven, AG.
Nice.
That one probably that's up there for one of my favorites. Malonis, which again, this is I got to train with him when he was
Right.
a teacher, but
Best pound for pound wrestler out there.
Absolutely.
Brian.
But when he got to come back after being in ROH and getting to pick his brain once again now,
Right.
I had done a lot of growing up since when I trained with him originally. I was not exactly the best of students when
Right.
he first got a hold of me. So getting to, approach him from a different standpoint, a different mindset was fantastic.
Nice.
So, oh my goodness, I had so many others, but I can't even remember them off the top of my head. But all of them were just, you get a different perspective of how someone became successful
Right.
in their own way.
Right. And it's got to be encouraging for you guys to see, like AG. If he got signed, they let him go, but now he just went to Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Over at
You know what I mean? There's all kinds of opportunities. And this area is watched. They pay attention. They know good wrestlers come from this area.
Absolutely.
Because you guys get trained by good trainers.
we're
So-
extremely fortunate for that too. You
Yeah.
know, it's not. I don't think it's lost on any of us or anyone that trains in New England.
Right.
I think there is a huge standard that we have, and I think a lot of us want to uphold that.
Yeah.
You know.
And I like what you said, though, respect. That's something that I'm not in the wrestling business. I'm around it. I'm around the wrestling business.
You're in the wrestling
I
business.
make
Come
money.
on.
I make money from the wrestling business. I'm not going to lie and say that, but I'm not. I like to let everybody know I'm not in the business. I'm around the business.
Yeah.
But I mean, you guys, I've watched so many guys. You know what I mean? Move on and get better and better. And then some stay and they don't want to go anywhere with it. So they stay local. And they're really great wrestlers, you know? I mean, there's guys like for instance, Nico Silva. I don't think Nico really wants to go in. He's got a family. You know what I mean?
Right.
Good job and all that. But that kid, if he wanted to, see you later.
Yeah.
You know, and you guys see that.
And that's what's really cool right now, I think, in general with wrestling is how many options there are.
Yeah.
Like just on both the local scene
Yeah.
and also a promotional scene. You
Step
know?
above.
Yeah. absolutely.
Just like North America, obviously you have AEW, WWE, Impact,
Yep.
Ring of Honor,
MLW.
MLW. I would
NWA Power.
NWA.
Yeah.
And in Japan, you have your Noahs and your New Japans.
And they have a whole bunch of indie ones too. over there.
You can.
A lot.
So, in this area, even if you don't want to be signed,
Right.
still have fun with it. You know,
Absolutely.
You can still take it seriously and make pretty all right money, I'd imagine.
I hope I didn't know. Oh, it's Stepper Nico. I hope you don't get mad at me. But I just don't think he wants to. He could.
And there's
He
nothing.
could be gone if he wanted to.
And I
He's
don't-
that good.
I don't think anyone would ever fault anybody for wanting to stay now. I think for a while there was this stigma of people that just want to stay local.
Right.
Like if you didn't want to be world champion, you're wasting everyone's time. I think we're slowly moving away from that, where wrestling's become more inclusive and positive for a lot of people.
Right.
What I think is great. So there is room for guys that just want to stay local. No fault to them at all, because there are people with families that don't want to do anything.
Right.
Me personally, I want to go to Japan real bad. That's a goal of mine. And I understand why people wouldn't want to, because like a Japanese tour, I think is like 8 weeks.
Right.
That's a long time
Yeah.
away from home across the world. So if
Right.
something goes wrong,
But being a wrestler, you could go travel the world on other people's dimes.
Yeah.
You know, they fly you here, they'll fly you there. I mean, they all been going all over the place. Even like Channing Thomas. He went over to England like over a year ago. And somebody else, if I'm not mistaken, just had a tour over there too. I can't
Randy
remember.
Rivera,
Yeah, Randy.
Yes, that's who it was.
Just
Yeah,
one.
Randy. Yep. Very talented kid too.
Very
fantastic
Oh, yeah.
in ring.
Definitely.
Definitely.
My girlfriend was a big fan of him too.
Yeah, I'm sure my girlfriend is too, but she won't tell me. But then again, hey, I'm old.
That's a shout out, Randy. I'm coming for you.
That kid can work though.
Oh, he can.
Incredible,
So good.
incredible. All right, so what made you want to try wrestling? Do you know what I mean? Like there had to have been something that I got to do this. Well, you want to start?
Please start with that.
Yeah, I looked into it multiple times.
Right.
And for some reason or another, I'd never pulled the trigger and just been like, hey, I'm going to go check it out. I'll go do one of the fantasy camps, something like that, whether it be, I'm not physically prepared, I'm not mentally prepared, whatever.
Right.
The real opportunity to me is, was the opening of Next Gen in Manchester and being in such close proximity. And the fact that it was there was no real commitment outside of your monthly payment. So I was like, hey, it's a low risk, potentially high reward. I went and I was like, I might go and try this for a couple weeks and might hate it.
Right.
That wasn't the case. I absolutely love it, and I'm super grateful for for that opportunity that Bud had, gave the Manchester community and the surrounding area, and for me, just to get the exposure to everybody else, at the school, incredibly like-minded people, and through the opportunities of other promotions like APW and I think like NAWA and things like that have been.
Oh, Larry Huntley's company.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So one of the GK Durant is a referee
Yeah.
and ring announcer, and he works for them sometimes. And
He can do it all.
yeah,
Yes,
he can certainly
do it all.
So just being given those opportunities just incredible, and it's really made me passionate for being a part of the business.
I guess what really made me want to do it was WrestleMania 25, Shawn Taker. I kind of just completely fell in love with wrestling again. But it was always just something where I never had the real chance to. I wasn't working jobs where I made enough money to really pursue it. And I just had chance encounter where I was scrolling through Facebook, once a month that I do that. Saw an APW ad, and I was like, I think I was going to like Itchy Ball with my girlfriend. And I was like, this is funny. I'm gonna go to a wrestling show instead. Sorry.
Right.
So we went there, and Chance was just a chance encounter. They were advertising Next Gen.
Nice.
And I signed up that day because I was like, it's funny. I'll go there for a few weeks.
It was all a big joke to him.
That's really what it was. Is I just thought it would be funny.
Right.
Because I wasn't thinking like, I'm going to be a pro wrestler type of thing. I was always thinking like, it'd be cool.
Right.
And when I started doing it, I was like, you're not bad at this. Like, you're far from bad at this. Like, you're pretty all right. So just that chance encounter, and I just stuck with it. Fell in love with it real bad.
Nice.
I'm addicted to it, real hooked.
Is that how much time we got left? We might need it all.
We'll cut you off, don't worry.
Yeah. I was actually, so when I was a kid, I didn't watch wrestling. I didn't do, I wasn't athletic at all. I was actually, asthmatic, taking the puffs of the inhaler,
wow.
doing half a lap on outside the school. But I was a theater geek. I loved theater, and I got really upset that while being in theater, I never got any of the stage combat parts.
Okay.
They'd always come to me for help with those because I took karate.
Right.
So we need help with this. I'm like, you're doing a Middle European sword fight. I don't know anything about that. But they're like, but you know how to fight. I'm like, no. But if I know how to fight, why didn't you give me the part?
Right.
Well, playing the video games, my mother, stepmother, I can't remember. Someone came in.
They're like the same thing.
Yeah. Someone came in and always reminded me, that's all fake, right?
I hated hearing that from
my
everybody.
goodness, right?
I did. I hated it.
But it's and I would defend, no, it's staged. And finally, it took about 6 months, but it clicked. The way it's staged, like theater is staged. This is exactly what's my favorite part of theater, the stage comp. Oh my God, there's a whole. So I checked it out. As I said, I went to a fantasy camp for the Chaotic Training Center.
Yeah.
And because I didn't make a whole lot of money, back then they actually had a little thing. If you were the best student in the class, they'd give you 3 free months. I happened to be that guy.
Nice.
Mostly because I had a character ready.
They only gave you 3 months though. But did you hear some of the other guys got complete both like Biff, him and Saucier, they were both like in 1 year, they got free training 100%.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I got 3 months.
Hey, that's better than nothing.
Right, and that's what was advertised, so I'm not going to complain about it.
Right.
They, I happened to, the biggest thing was I had a character going in.
Right.
And a lot of people, they get a little stage shy, because they'll do all the physical stuff. And then it'll be, hey, now do a promo. And people, what?
It's got to be hard to come out of your shell if you're a shy
Absolutely.
person. It has to be hard.
Even at the fantasy camp I went to, now I'm pretty decent at promos. I think I'm a pretty good talker. But they had their microphone was a water bottle. And when they gave they gave it to me, and I'm cutting my promo, and I'm trying to talk real confident.
Right.
And and I was just, I wish I could see it, because I like seeing my growth, but also I like making fun of myself a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it would just be really just great to see me trying to talk cool. And
And they tell you, right? I mean, when you're in the mirror, you're shaving or you brush, you try to give your facials. This is all the stuff I've heard people talk about right here on the set.
You're hearing the right stuff. That's what
Yeah.
I'll just be alone 3 o'clock in the morning cutting a promo to myself. I've gotten, and that's what I mean is it's become an absolute obsession.
Right.
I work at a job where I sit alone in a room for 12 hours.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'm thinking
couldn't
about
do that.
wrestling, watching it on my phone, wrestling, and studying tape, just doing whatever I can, because I know the time I want to put in, I can't always because of my job, but the time I'm not there, I'm still studying tape. So even when I come back from a week away, I come back better because I've just been nonstop, just enveloped in it.
Even before you guys got into wrestling, because I'm going to tell you that I used to cut promos, and I wasn't even trying to be a wrestler. So I mean, you guys must have done that, even, right? You know, if you're a wrestler fan, yeah.
Absolutely.
I think anyone that was a real wrestling fan had their own wrestling promotion with friends. And you had your own cardboard championships, and you cut your own promos.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah. I was such a fan. I used to take my superhero figures because they didn't have wrestling figures when I was there. You know, honestly, you know, the cowboy guy would be like Blackjack Lanza.
Yep.
Iron Man was like Mil Mascaras, you know.
Absolutely.
But how about with yourself? Have you got to cut any promos in the ring or anything yet? I think I said you do one.
So I haven't really gotten any microphone time for a promotion. I get to, my character is fun, to say the least.
Yeah. Tell everybody your character.
So
Because I know you wrestled a few
Kid V,
times.
spreading that infection of love and energy. Mwah! And Kid V is very childlike. He's, you know, besides pro wrestling and how to cook ramen noodles, he's a child. And I mean, maybe the ramen noodles is also kind of a kid thing, but you know,
I like them.
That's to be discussed.
Depends on how you make them.
Yeah.
Stovetop, not a kid thing. Microwave, kid thing.
Good thing. But so I get to have a lot of fun. So I remember one of the things, GK, once again, fantastic. I absolutely love him. And every time that he's on a show with me, he always is like, hey, I'm going to ref your match. Beautiful. I feel very safe with him in there with me. But with the rapport that we have, I do a lot to try to break him.
Oh,
I try to break him. So
try to get him to laugh.
Yeah, you know. So my first match with Congo.
Oh yeah.
Who is?
You did really good that night.
Thank you.
Remember, I sent you a message.
Yes,
Honey. You really did.
Thank you. And
You really did.
He's phenomenal. And
That's awesome.
When he knows how to work. But it was the first time I've gotten to meet him. I've never, you know, I hadn't done any study about him. Uncle Eddie comes out. He's, you know, you don't know what you signed up for. And I'm just like, I think I know.
Yeah.
This is wrestling. It's all the same, isn't it? And then Congo comes out and the announcer's from the concrete jungle. And I just go up to GK and I'm looking him dead in the eyes. And I go, that's not a real place. And GK is just like, yep, I know. Stop it.
That's funny.
So I do a lot of little things,
Yeah.
you know, when Ed was out there, you know, he yelled Congo, and I get right up to the ropes, and I look at him, I go, what's a Congo? You know, so just little things that I can do to add that personality. Because every chance that you're in front of the crowd is a chance to build the story of your character.
Yes.
You might not be in an actual story for the promotion, but you can tell a story of your character going through, you know, working all the indies in the local area.
Yep.
Even if it's just the story that you know for your character.
Right.
I just hit my microphone. I do little character stuff. So when I tape my hand up, my right hand always has something written on it. So if y'all come check me out, pay attention to that. But I always got something written on it.
Yep.
So I got to do this. I got to work for Top Rope Promotions randomly on the 3rd. So, of course, it being July and everything, I wrote indie, as in indie wrestling, Pendants Day.
Yes.
So no one got to see it. No one's looking at me close enough to actually read what's on my hand, but I know it's there.
Right. And so, you don't know, somebody might have noticed it when you were, you know what I mean? Somebody might have picked up on that.
But it's little things that I know it's there, so I can be Kid V, much more enveloping rather than just, all right, we're here, we're going through the motions, I know how to do my wrestling stuff. But
how about you, Will? Have you got confidence when you start to do a promo? How do you feel about your promo skills for now?
So I actually, I work in corporate America. I work for a software company, so I spend a lot of time in meetings and on Zoom and all that kind of stuff. So dealing with people, you know, all the way up to the C-level CEOs, CFOs, that kind of stuff sometimes. So I'm pretty comfortable with public speaking. I don't get to do it that often, but when I do, I like to make the most of it. And I think that professional wrestling has really only helped me develop that skill more. It's made me more confident, you know, in every aspect of my life. So not just the, you know, I don't even know where I'm going at this point.
That's all right.
But public speaking.
Public speaking. Oh, yeah. We're back.
Like I said, the first time
Yeah.
I cut a promo in front of people was dreadful. I don't know what was said at all. I don't remember anything. I just remember shaking really bad and being like, thank God that's over. Now I'm a lot more comfortable.
Good.
The one time I kind of struggle with it is when there's a camera involved, because I'm a perfectionist.
Right.
So if I'm cutting a promo and I'm filming it, because I remember I sent a promo with a bud before to pitch a character, and I had to film it like 14 different times. Like, oh, what if I had like this light behind me, and what if I changed the pitch of what I'm talking? But like when I'm talking into a microphone, it's obvious that one go, one take, and I think I do all right with that kind of pressure. But I think when I can adjust stuff, I'll always nitpick it. I'll always critique it. Like in the moment, I'll be like, "That's cool," and I'll watch back and I'll be like, "That is terrible. You made every wrong decision you could have made." But some people like it and some people don't. I know the promo I sent Bud, he loved it. Everyone that I've showed loved it. So that's when I kind of got that confidence to be like, oh, yeah, you can talk.
Nice. Now, do you guys each have like somebody you like to kind of study? You know what I mean? Like I know you had brought up Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, but is there anybody that like would surprise me that you'd like to watch? Like I'll tell you, for instance, I'm an old school guy. I like this guy named Al Madrill. Have you ever heard of Al Madrill? But he wrestled with the Von Erichs in California.
Yeah.
The guy was really good. You know what I mean? So that's like a guilty pleasure of mine was to watch like Al Madrill matches. Is there anybody that you guys? We'll start with you.
It's not a real guilty pleasure. I think a lot of people would say they watch him. The one guy I study all the time because I think he's so good at everything from promos to in-ring work to the facial expressions is Edge. I think he's somehow both extremely underrated, but so good. I feel like he's so overlooked in everything that he does.
Right.
One of the first time I really noticed, like, wow, his promos are next level, was when he tore his bicep in the match with Orton.
Oh yeah.
And he cut that promo sitting in the turnbuckle. I was like, this is incredible. And then I went back down the Edge head rabbit hole. I've always been an Edge guy though, so.
I wouldn't say I don't fixate on someone in particular.
Okay.
I jump from person to person. A lot of the people that I do watch right now, I just found this fantastic YouTube channel where it has like the whole year of what WCW put out in 1984.
Oh, wow.
Or something like so. I'm like, oh well, I know what I'm going to be doing for the next couple of years.
Right.
But I like to watch anyone that I find a weakness in myself. So if I'm going, wow, my chain wrestling needs to get brushed up on,
Right.
or I need a new trick in my chain wrestling. I'll look at a bunch of technicians and,
Right.
your Bret Hart, just about anything from the 80s has fantastic chain wrestling.
Mr. Perfect. I mean, so many guys.
Malenko.
Yeah.
Malenko is so
Big
good.
time.
Overlooked
Yeah.
too.
I mean, if you want, some great guys to look at, just look at, the Malenko, Eddie, Ray, they would tour
Yeah.
with each other,
Oh, yeah.
Japan, Mexico, United States. Perfect, that's some fantastic matches right there, and they have a little bit of everything in it.
Absolutely. Well, what about you?
So the thing I love, especially with having the coaches that we have and stuff, is getting the suggestions and stuff, and going back and taking a look at old WCCW matches, and
Yeah.
like you said, the Von Erichs or Bobby Eaton, older Arn Anderson, things like that, and just really trying to pick apart what they did so well in where exactly like Jay was saying, where you might be lacking, and whether it's your ability to change gears or get the crowd going, or even simple things like your footwork or your selling.
Right.
There's a ton that just going back and watching that kind of old stuff can really help with. And I mean, in terms of like when I was growing up in the early 90s and stuff, like before he passed away, Owen Hart, absolutely loved him. I think he always being that kind of second fiddle to Bret was always kind of put a chip on his shoulder, and you saw some really great stuff from him.
And if he didn't pass, who knows if he would have surpassed his brother?
Yeah.
Honestly, because he was that good.
Oh yeah,
He was.
yeah. And yeah, the entire Hart Foundation. British Bulldog. And then I absolutely loved when Kurt Angle came into the WWE. I was growing up amateur wrestling. Brothers both, wrestled for the high school, doing boys club and stuff when I was younger. So seeing that guy come from, the Olympics,
Right.
and come in and just tear the place down, just absolutely, incredible talent, great character work, just fantastic overall. I loved him.
There's a couple guys, though, that I think you guys should seriously watch and check out. Eric Embry and Dr. Tom Pritchard. Watch some of their heel stuff from like down in Memphis and working for the Fullers down in Continental. These were guys that were trying to, that ended up making it really big, but they didn't have the size. They weren't giants. Like when I said about Al Madrill earlier, Al was like 6'2", 6'3", but he didn't have the handsome looks, but he could work, man. And you talk like anybody that brings up Al's name that's, in wrestling, they'll tell you the same thing. The guy was just as good as anybody. But Tom Pritchard, I don't know if you guys know who Eric Embry is.
Nope, that's
Oh, sir.
Dude, ask your coaches. They'll tell you. Because
Absolutely.
they are unbelievable guys to check out. All right. Guys, listen to any podcasts, wrestling podcasts. You don't have to say you watch my show. But, is there anything that you like to listen to every week? Like, I'm a Jim Cornette guy. I like to listen to Cornette, and I like Conan's podcast. But
I don't actually have time to listen to a whole lot. If I'm being honest, I wake up, I'm either trying to get ready for something wrestling or just getting ready for work. If not, I'm spending time with the family.
there you go.
And the family only puts up with so much wrestling time.
Oh, I know that.
They're like,
I do know that.
there's going to be a cutoff.
Yeah.
10 minutes is all you get today. I'm like, well, let me pull up one of my matches. So I don't unfortunately have the opportunity.
I'm actually part of a podcast
nice.
called the Battle Wounds Podcast. My friend Brian Lafferty owns a apparel company called Battle Wounds, and we meet every couple of weeks. Me, him, and our friend Dan. It's all about wrestling, pop culture, movies.
Nice.
Outside of that, I'd like to catch Let Freedom Ring, Dan Bolio when I can.
Me too.
And I love listening to when Chris Jericho does interviews. I think he's pretty interesting.
Definitely.
I love all the more recently the uncensored the Broken Skull Ranch that
Yes.
Stone Cold does. I thought his with the Undertaker was really insightful, and just it's I think there's something for everybody out there.
Right.
So yeah.
Like I said, with the whole addiction to wrestling, I probably listen to too many podcasts. Same thing. I listen to Jim Cornette. Dutch Mantel has a podcast I listen to.
Dutch too. Big time.
Conan's, Booker T's, Busted Open when they have Bully or Mark Henry on. All over the place. I can keep going. Jericho's podcast, Austin's.
Right.
Everyone has a podcast now. it seems
So
like,
I noticed you said Busted Open and you didn't say Dave LaGreca. Because the only reason I'm bringing I can't listen to him. I'm not saying that he's a bad guy or anything, but I can't listen to him.
I listen to a lot of clips, so I probably don't know the name.
Right.
I probably have heard the voice. I'm weird. I have a very low attention span. If I hear someone talk for an hour and 30 minutes, I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Unless I'm engaged.
Right. See, my kids are adults. So and my girl makes jewelry all night at home. So I have the TV, to myself. And I listen to a lot, like I said, listen to a lot of podcasts at work. I'm stripping floors and I constantly got them in my ears, But I haven't listened to Booker T in a long time, and I'm glad you guys said that. Because he's got a great podcast.
Absolutely.
All right, let me see what else. We'll go back to when you guys were fans. Let's talk about managers, because I know you guys are training with some guys that are going to be managers. Yep. All right. Who were some of your favorite managers back in the day? You want to start?
I'll go first. Maybe a bit of a hot take. I loved Vicky Guerrero.
I actually liked her too.
It might be just because of the whole thing where everything Edge did I thought was golden. But something about the excuse me.
That was
something
brilliant.
so simple. And every time you heard just choruses of boos. And I thought that was phenomenal. But now, now that I can watch older stuff, probably the best manager of all time is the Brain, Bobby Heenan. I'll watch his stuff, Jim Cornette as well.
Yep.
And the willingness that they had to do the wildest things, like Cornette falling off a scaffolding.
Yeah.
Like
Broke his leg.
Yeah, I'm afraid of heights, so no thanks from the jump.
He
But, like,
was too.
Yeah.
I think
No, he
that's
talked
awesome.
about it in the podcast. He was afraid of heights.
He hates it.
So yeah, I mean, Vicky Guerrero to me is like, and it's also the time I was watching where managers weren't like huge.
Right,
So
right.
so Vicky Guerrero is probably my pick for that.
I like Vicky too, and that excuse me thing was brilliant. It really was, and I guess it's something that she used to say just in general.
Right.
Backstage, she'd be like, "Excuse me," and someone said to her, "You need to say it a different way."
Yeah.
How about you?
I got to go with Paul Heyman.
I forgot about Paul.
That's
yeah.
all right, but wait, you still said some good ones
You
there.
can't change your answer
Yeah.
now.
Good too.
He is good.
Yeah, talk about a man who could go off the cuff if he wants to, could work completely off the cuff,
Yep.
unscripted, and still draw every ear and eye in an arena
Yep,
to him and what he's talking about.
absolutely.
And he's got such a great way of going in a roundabout storytelling way every time he opens his mouth.
Yep.
But still comes back to the, you get exactly what he's talking about. You know what point he's going to make
Yep.
at the end, and it all comes together.
Yeah.
Beautiful little package.
He's incredible.
Incredible.
He is incredible. How about you, Will?
Yeah, I mean, you stole my answer.
It's all right. You can say your view.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
it, though.
Heyman was great. Heyman still is great. For me, growing up, I always think, Jimmy Hart,
Yeah.
Mouth of the South.
Oh,
It's just,
God, he's so good, too.
It's so.
He is. So many.
When I think of that kind of like early '90s
Yeah.
WWF, WWE, whatever you want to call it these days, I always just think of him in just bombastic outfit and just doing anything that he can to get the attention of the people.
He calls everybody baby, right? I don't know if you guys ever heard that, but I met Jimmy Hart once, and he was so nice.
Yep.
One of the nicest guys I ever met. What about tag teams, guys? Everybody has their own view of the greatest tag team. You hear the Road Warriors, you hear the Hart Foundation, you hear the Steiners. My personal favorite's the Eliminators. I don't know. What do you guys think? Tag teams. I'm going to start with you this time.
Well, as I said, when I started watching wrestling, tag team wrestling was it was like trying to make a comeback. WWE is, I hate to say it, but nowadays they don't build tag teams.
No, it's too bad. And I'm a tag team wrestling fan. I'd rather watch a tag match than a singles match. That's just me.
So when I was there, like that's when Deuce and Domino were there,
Yes.
Eminem and things like that. I fell in love with Paul London and Brian Kendrick. I thought they were fantastic.
were awesome.
And the thing was, they were a tag team with their own style.
Yeah.
So when you threw all these other teams at them that, were very gimmick heavy or whatnot, it worked still because it was a style, it was almost style versus style. And I
Yep.
love that in a wrestling
Yep.
match. Okay, well, now we're going to throw these two big guys at them. Now it's a powerhouse style versus a
Right.
high-flying style. Then you could throw two technicians. I love when style comes into play for
Right.
a wrestling match. And I think it's a storyline that can get overlooked.
Absolutely.
But for tag teams, I mean, they are one of my favorite only because I grew up.
Right.
That was one of the ones that I got to grow up watching.
Well, they trained together too. So, as a team, they knew each other like unbelievable. What about you, Will?
Growing up, so Attitude Era,
Yep.
for me, as weird as it sounds, I mean, you've got the Hardys, you've got the Dudleys, you've got Edge and
APA.
Christian, you've got APA. For me, New Age Outlaws, love Billy Gunn, love Road Dogg. It's just that entrance, just popping the crowd, just fantastic. Nowadays, I mean, there is so much good tag team wrestling just across the board, and
Absolutely.
there's something for everything.
Yeah.
Everybody, ice cream. I mean, whether you like the more lucha style that's in AEW, and you like the Young Bucks or the Lucha Bros, or even the FTR,
Yeah.
or a team like the Butcher and the Blade, those big big heavies. Or for me, I love any variation of the New Day. Just entertaining, and just I think tag team wrestling is great. I think there's a lot of creativity in it, especially, it's not just you and an opponent in there, it's you, a partner, and two opponents. So there's a lot more I think a lot more opportunities for unique situations, but that's just me. So.
All right.
Admittedly, I wasn't a very big tag team wrestling fan for a while.
What? No,
I've always respected it, but I wasn't always a fan.
Right.
But American Alpha, I watched them. Everything was so clean.
Yeah.
It made sense.
You're talking with Jason Jordan?
Jason Jordan and
Jason
Chad
Jordan,
Gable.
Chad Gable.
Yeah.
And then the Revival, or FTR now, when they worked together, I was like, this is it. This is pro wrestling.
Yeah.
This is insane. There was the high spots, the chaining, everything. It's so good.
You know who none of us named, and we're all going to be like, oh my God, RVD and Sabu.
Yeah, that's true.
Midnight Express.
Midnight Express. Oh my God. How did we not name the Midnight Express?
Hey, there's a lot of great
There's
tag
so
teams.
much.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
And when you start to like watch more of it and grow that respect for tag wrestling like I have, you just see so many great tag teams you didn't even know were like really tag teams.
Yeah.
Like you have Kurt Angle and Chris Benoit. That's insane. That's an insane. Just the billing of that is crazy to hear.
Guys, we got a couple minutes left. Why don't you each plug yourself, plug something. We'll start with you again.
Great.
Plug something, anything you got coming up, anything.
Anything. All right.
You have social media.
So, like I said earlier, part of the Battle Wounds podcast. We release episodes every couple weeks. Okay. Again, shout out to Elite Pro Wrestling Academy, Next Gen Pro Wrestling Academy, Scott Reed, Mike Hollow, Bud Browning, Julian Starr, great coaches, and Atlantic Pro Wrestling. Upcoming show this
Saturday night.
Saturday.
I'll be there.
See you there. Yep.
I'm debuting my chicken fingers.
Nice.
Oh,
Newburyport.
Now he's talking my language.
Good thing I'm working security. I don't have a lot of plug. If you want to, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Jonathan 3_ Thomas. Everyone took 1_ to 2, so I had to take 3 to settle on that one. It's a long one, but follow me there. Shout out to the schools as well. Elite, NEPWA, Bell Time Club. But one thing I really want to say is if like you're watching this and you want to do it, there's so much around. Just please do it.
nice. Don't worry about the time. So just do what you got to do. Don't worry
Well,
about it.
make sure you check out Kid V. Facebook is the easiest way to find me, so just type in Kid V. That's Kid with 2 D's, and of course the big old V. But yeah, you can find me there. Instagram, ProRes Kid V. But wherever you want to check us out. But again, as these fellas have said so amazingly, check out all of your local shows, check out your local training facilities. If you are interested in pro wrestling, if you've ever wanted to step in the ring and just feel what it's like for a day. In New England alone, we have so many opportunities. Next Gen, Elite, NEPWA, Bell Time, and with even more promotions than we do schools. So, as always, check it out. Atlantic Pro Wrestling happening this weekend. That's set,
July 16th.
Yes,
July
absolutely.
16th.
July 16th. Come on down. Check us out. Kid V going to be in action, so you know it's going to be a decent show.
Guys, I want to thank you all for coming on. We can do this again another time. How's it sound good?
Sounds
great.
amazing.
Guys, we're out. Peace. Hi, guys. I hope you're enjoying the show. Listen, I could use a little help to grow my YouTube channel. So if you could please like, share, and subscribe. That's most importantly, subscribe. Send me a direct message, and I'll give you a shout out here on the show. My YouTube channel is real simple. It's just my name, Leo Connors. Thanks in advance. Peace.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.